My brother demanded $50,000 from me for his broken relationship after his fiancée confessed she loved me. My brother Matt, who is 1 year older than me, was engaged to Kate, his ex-fiancée. They seemed like a good match, and it appeared that they would have a wonderful life together. However, things didn't go as planned, and their relationship ended in large part due to me. Before you pass judgment, I need to describe what actually happened. Matt and I have always been close, and we even attended the same college, where Matt met Kate. They struck it off fast and began dating seriously. Kate spent a lot of time with Matt and me in our college apartment. It didn't take long until she and I became pals. Initially, I was pleased to see how much she cared for my brother, and I admired her as his girlfriend. That's how I've always seen her, as Matt's girl, with the potential to join our family eventually. But, over time, I started to notice things about Kate that made me uneasy. She was frequently overly nice with me in ways that did not seem quite acceptable. I dismissed it at first, assuming it was her way of bonding with me as a potential sister-in-law. However, numerous ex-girlfriends of mine would bring up Kate in conversation. They told me how uncomfortable she made them feel when they came to visit me. According to them, Kate would act possessive of me around them, asking a lot of questions, which made no sense given that she was with Matt and not me. I never paid much attention to these statements, supposing they were exaggerated or simply didn't want to believe them. But as more individuals brought it up, I realized there could be something to it. I once dated a girl named Sarah, and everything went well between us. However, she abruptly ended our relationship. I was caught off guard and had no idea what had gone wrong. I eventually discovered the truth. Kate had ruined our relationship. When I brought Sarah over to our apartment, Kate would continuously mock her, put her down, and even bully her behind my back. Sarah later informed me that Kate made her feel unwelcome and insignificant, as if she did not belong in my life. That was not all. Kate went so far as to lie to Sarah, claiming that I was cheating on her with other people. That was completely false, and the worst part was that Sarah believed her without speaking with me first. It ached to know Kate had purposefully wrecked our relationship. When I questioned Kate, she acknowledged lying but showed no remorse. Instead, she excused her actions by claiming that she didn't think Sarah was right for me and was attempting to protect me from a relationship she didn't believe was good enough. She presented it as if she was doing me a favor, but it did not feel that way. It seemed like an invasion, as if she had crossed a line she wasn't supposed to cross. This was not an isolated instance. Another time, I was dating a girl named Emily and things were getting serious. During Christmas, I decided to bring her home for the first time to meet my family. Matt brought Kate along, as he normally did. I had high hopes for the holiday, thinking it would be an opportunity for Emily to connect with everyone. Instead, it became a nightmare. Kate made Emily feel unwelcome from the beginning. She would isolate her from family gatherings, making her feel like an outcast while pretending she didn't notice. Emily later told me that she thought Kate despised her and treated me with jealousy. She followed me about all day, never allowing Emily or myself any space or solitude. Eventually, Emily couldn't handle it any longer, and we split up. These experiences made me feel stuck. I wasn't sure if Kate had feelings for me because she had never expressed them. I also didn't know how to handle this without producing a schism between my brother and me or inciting extra family turmoil. But, at the same time, I couldn't ignore how Kate's actions affected my life and relationships. It was evident that something was wrong, and it was only a matter of time before things broke down. Then came my birthday. Kate handed me a gold chain with the letter K on it. It looked quite pricey. At first, I wasn't sure how to react. Giving me a necklace with her initials on it seemed weird, even inappropriate. This was not the type of gift you'd anticipate from your brother's fiancée. It seemed more like something couples would exchange. I nervously quipped that she must have confused the receiver, as the necklace appeared to be a gift for my brother Matt rather than me. Kate's face flushed with shame, and she explained how she had personalized the necklace particularly for me. She said she wanted me to wear it so I wouldn't get approached by every girl on the street. I made a nasty expression at her comment, and she must have seen it because she fell into tears and fled out of the room without saying anything. The entire situation felt awkward and uncomfortable, and I had no idea what to do. Later, I summoned the confidence to tell my brother about my concerns, hoping he'd understand why Kate's gift had upset me. But, to my amazement, he ignored it completely. He pretended it wasn't a huge deal for Kate to give me anything like that, telling me that Kate loved me like family and I shouldn't overthink things. When I brought up Kate's previous occurrences and strange conduct, my brother replied that she was simply a highly protective person and that her behavior meant nothing else. To avoid unnecessary drama, I decided to drop the topic with him. He was clearly delusional. But, following the incident, I made a concerted attempt to distance myself from Kate. I was nice and respectful whenever I was around her, but I avoided spending time alone with her or conversing with her for longer than necessary. I assumed that providing that distance would help create clear boundaries and that she would finally leave me alone. When my brother and Kate graduated, I expected to spend less time with Kate, but that did not happen. Kate began phoning and texting me practically daily. Even when I ignored her calls and responded briefly to her texts, she didn't seem to receive the message. Her persistence perplexed me, and I couldn't understand why Mom continued to seek so much attention from me when her priority should have been my brother. Then Daisy entered my life. I met her at a party through common friends, and as soon as we started talking, I realized she was unique. Daisy is the love of my life, and I'm so grateful we met. Kate's behavior at family functions followed the same old, unpleasant pattern every time she met Daisy. She would try to bully Daisy in the same manner she had bullied my ex-partners. But this time, something was different. I was older, more self-aware, and far less tolerant of her shenanigans. Whenever Kate crossed a line, I stood up for Daisy and warned her to back off. But I also have to admit that Daisy does not require my protection. She is strong, confident, and refuses to accept disrespect. One event stood out in particular. Kate chose a seafood restaurant for our family meal despite knowing Daisy was terribly sensitive to shellfish. She obviously wants Daisy to sit out, expecting she would feel ostracized and embarrassed. When I discovered what was going on, I absolutely refused to attend the dinner. Daisy did not remain silent either. She informed everyone that Kate had purposefully chosen a place where she would be unable to eat. Kate attempted to play innocent, stating she had no idea Daisy's allergy was such a major deal. When it didn't work, she became rude, insulting Daisy by claiming that only weak people had such allergies and accusing her of faking them for attention. That was the breaking moment. My parents recognized Kate's callous behavior and called her out on it. I also insisted Kate apologize to Daisy on the spot. She seemed outraged at me for siding with Daisy, as if she expected me not to support my own spouse. She whispered an unconvincing apology. In the end, my dad, Daisy, and I went out to another restaurant while Kate and my brother ate at the seafood restaurant. Daisy and I carefully avoided Kate following this incident. Fortunately, my parents were on the same page. They saw Kate's odd conduct and did not pressure me to involve her in my plans. They understood and supported my decisions, making things easier for me. My brother Matt was the only person who remained to support Kate. He would regularly approach me and plead her case. He told me how Kate was hurt that I wasn't spending more time with her, and how Daisy had pushed a wedge between us. He'd reminisce about the good old days, attempting to persuade me to visit him and Kate more often so the three of us could hang out like we used to. But I had no desire to turn back the clock. I made it obvious to Matt that Daisy was a vital part of my life right now, and she was not leaving. I told him that if Kate couldn't accept Daisy or recognize her role in my life, there was no place for me in their small group. I wasn't going to place Kate's sentiments over my partner's well-being, or jeopardize the life I was creating with Daisy. It was a difficult conversation, but it needed to be had. My brother and I developed a strained connection over time. When my brother got engaged to Kate, he invited me and Daisy to an engagement party with the rest of the family. I wasn't looking forward to seeing Kate again, but for my brother's sake, I decided to set my sentiments aside for one night. Little did I know, that night would be a disaster that none of us would ever forget. Kate stared at me from the time we arrived. She approached me and offered me a lengthy, prolonged hug, which made me uneasy. I observed that she was drinking extensively all night. She was noisy, emotional, and obsessively focused on me and Daisy. She continued to flirt with me, stroking my arm needlessly and making improper remarks. It was awkward, to say the least. I did my best to avoid her without raising a disturbance, but my attempts to separate myself just made her angrier. Matt stood up to make a toast to commemorate their engagement. Kate pulled the microphone from his hand in the middle of his address, as the entire crowd watched. Kate began a rambling and disjointed confession. She told everyone present that she had been living a lie for years. She appeared inebriated, and her speech was slurred. She admitted in front of our entire family and friends that she had always been in love with me, not Matt. The room fell silent, and all eyes turned to me. My brother's face became pale, his expression a mix of shock and sadness. I could feel my pulse pounding in my chest as the horror of what she was saying set in. Kate, unconcerned about the ruckus she was causing, resumed her inebriated confession. She explained that she had tolerated remaining with Matt all these years because it was the only way she could be close to me. Kate went on to express her jealousy of Daisy, claiming that she was the reason I had stopped spending time with her. Then, to everyone's amazement, she begged me to leave Daisy. She stated she wanted us to run away together and have a wonderful life as a couple. The desperate tone in her voice was frightening. The room was stuck in startled quiet, except for Kate's drunken tears. Fortunately, Kate's sister, who was also attending the party, stepped in. She hurriedly pulled Kate away from the microphone and attempted to settle the situation, but Kate was not finished yet. She continued to wail and scream as her sister took her out of the room, shouting things at me like, "You're the love of my life, and don't let her take you from me." I wasn't sure where to look or what to say. My brother stood there, absolutely crushed, as our family and friends watched, shocked and disbelieving. I was appalled and ashamed by what had occurred. The consequences of this occurrence were terrible. Matt was devastated by Kate's public confession and betrayal and ended their engagement immediately. He severed all links with her and refused to see her again after that night. While I completely supported his decision to terminate things with Kate, I didn't expect him to cut me off as well. Matt refused to speak with me after that, no matter how hard I tried. He ignored my calls and messages, and he did not respond even when our parents tried to interfere. He stopped attending family gatherings, barely communicated with anyone, and provided no updates on his life. He has had almost no communication with any of us in the past 5 years. He was even absent on the most important day of my life, my wedding to Daisy. My parents occasionally receive a few updates from him, but that's about it. We have no idea why he cut us off so totally, but we understand his need for space, even if it breaks our hearts. That is why, when my phone rang this week and I saw Matt's name on the screen, I was taken aback. I hadn't heard from him in years, and I couldn't believe he was reaching out now. When I answered the phone, the first few moments were awkward. We hadn't spoken in a long time, and it was hard to know where to begin. But I was just glad that my older brother had finally contacted me. I missed him more than I knew. Matt informed me he was doing okay and eventually revealed why he was reaching out. He informed me that he was getting married in a few months. The news surprised me, but I was truly thrilled for him. After everything he'd been through, it felt like a new beginning in his life. I congratulated him cordially and expressed how pleased I was to hear the news. Curious, I inquired whether he planned to invite our parents, Daisy, and me to the wedding. It had been a long time since we'd all been together, and I saw this as an ideal opportunity for reconciliation. Matt confirmed that he was actually inviting us, which reassured me. It seemed like a bridge was finally being repaired. But then he said something that really took me off guard. He simply stated that, while I had been asked to his wedding, I could not come empty-handed. At first, I chuckled, believing he was making a light-hearted joke about wedding presents. I promised him that I would get him and his fiancée a wonderful gift. But Matt quickly clarified that wasn't what he meant. He went on to claim that what he really wanted from me was $50,000. I froze, taken by surprise. $50,000 for a wedding gift? For a second, I suspected he was still joking, but the severity in his voice dispelled any doubt. I urged him to clarify, to see if I had misunderstood, but Matt insisted. He informed me that this was something I owed him after breaking his trust years before. He argued that paying him this money was the only way to mend our friendship. I pressed him further, confused and shocked, to attempt to figure out what he was saying. What trust had I broken? How had I harmed him? That's when Matt mentioned Kate. He described in great detail how his ex-fiancée proclaimed her love for me at their engagement party. He told me how ashamed and deceived he felt that night, standing in front of his family and friends while his life fell apart. Matt blamed me for his disgrace and emotional agony. He claimed that I should have known Kate's feelings all along and done anything to avoid her disclosure. He criticized me for not setting stricter limits with her and for failing to recognize the warning signs sooner. Matt told me that the day Kate professed her love to me, he experienced a significant emotional and social loss. He said that the incident harmed his reputation, broke his confidence, and left him emotionally wounded. In his mind, the $50,000 was more than just a wedding present. It was compensation for the agony and humiliation he felt I had caused him. He saw it as an opportunity for me to take responsibility and make things right. Obviously, I informed Matt that I couldn't do what he asked. I informed him that he was insane for ever suggesting something like this. But Matt persisted in giving me a few days to rethink, implying that if I did not pay him the money, our relationship would be gone forever. Honestly, this feels like an ultimatum, and it has left me angry and very saddened. My wife believes my brother has lost his mind, but some of my cousins agree with Matt. They believe I should at least consider compromise and compensating him, as he has suffered greatly as a result of my actions. Okay, Reddit, here's an update. Matt's demand has stunned my parents just as much as it has me. When I told them what he had said, they couldn't believe that after years of silence and no attempts to communicate, Matt had simply come out to demand $50,000 from me. They are upset on my behalf, especially given the emotional toll the issue with Kate took on me and Daisy. My folks are fully on my side, We are now preparing a proper sit-down with Matt to resolve these concerns once and for all. The idea is to figure out what's going on with him and grasp his motives. We want to know if this $50,000 demand is truly what he believes will resolve our differences, or if something deeper is fueling his hatred. I'm also hoping that this discussion will allow Matt to see things from my perspective. I want him to understand that I was never the cause of what happened between him and Kate, and that blaming me is not the answer to his sorrow. To everyone who is wondering if I flirted with Kate or somehow led her on, let me be very clear. I was never drawn to her from the start. I respected her because she was important to Matt. Any feelings she had for me were totally her own. I never gave her any cause to believe I had anything more than platonic respect for her. Kate repeatedly crossed boundaries, despite my attempts to remove myself. She drove away several ex-girlfriends of mine by lying, bullying, and being bossy. She became envious and hateful when Daisy entered my life, and she made it her purpose to mistreat her whenever possible. Matt wasn't immune to her actions either. He noticed how uncomfortable she made me and how antagonistic she was to Daisy and my ex-partners, but he never discussed it with Kate. He didn't confront her or try to improve the situation. That stings also because I believe he knew deep down that what she was doing was wrong, but he decided to look the other way rather than confront her. It's as if he expected me to simply tolerate her antics for the sake of peace, no matter how much stress they imposed on me. Also, what kind of grown woman gets drunk and professes her emotions for her fiancé's brother at their engagement party? That moment was both mortifying and awful. She showed no respect for her relationship with Matt, for me, or for Daisy. I'm pleased Matt and Kate are no longer together because I believe this inappropriate dynamic would have persisted indefinitely. Update 2. It has been a month since my last update. Last week, after much back and forth, my parents, Daisy, and I finally met with Matt. He had made numerous reasons not to meet us, dragging his feet and avoiding any meaningful talk. My parents, however, remained strong. They insisted that we clear the air and strive to reconstruct what was destroyed. Initially, the meeting was difficult. Matt was defensive, and he began by admitting that he had been nursing a grudge against me all along. He stated that Kate's behavior caught him off guard, which contributed to his estrangement from me. He also began accusing me of having an affair with Kate on the side, implying that there might be more to the story than I or Kate had revealed. The charge stunned me, and I told him unequivocally that I would never do anything like that to him. I had always respected the bounds of his relationship with Kate, even when she was acting inappropriately. I wasn't about to let him accuse me of anything so ridiculous without a fight. Daisy also spoke out for me. She explained to Matt that Kate's activities had harmed the entire family, not just him, and that we had all been touched by her behavior. She reminded Matt of all the times he had picked Kate over me, despite her toxic behavior, and told him that he should have seen this coming much sooner than I did. Daisy told him bluntly that what he was doing to me was emotional manipulation, and that he shouldn't punish me for what had happened when I, too, was a victim like him. He needed to move on from his past. Daisy's powerful, clear voice drew Matt in and made him listen. I also informed Matt how many times I'd tried to contact him over the years. I emphasized that I could have discussed these issues with him years ago. I didn't shut him out. He cut us off without explanation. This is when Matt informed me that he was too humiliated to face me back then, that everything had been so overwhelming for him, and that he believed cutting us off was the best move for his mental health. While I understood his desire for space at the time, I couldn't figure out why, after all these years, he was asking me for money. That's when Matt revealed the true reason. He stated that the $50,000 he was requesting represented the amount of money he had spent on Kate over the years, including trips, presents, and any other costs incurred throughout their relationship. He believed that because Kate fell in love with me and I was the reason their relationship ended, I owed him the money as reparation. It was as if he was attempting to rationalize the absurdity of the situation by presenting it as a debt I needed to repay. I sat there in full shock as Matt continued to rationalize his ludicrous request. I told Matt straight up that he was only looking for ways to vent his rage on me. His focus should have been on Kate, the person who made those decisions and caused all of the anguish, not on me. If he wanted recompense, he should have asked her to pay rather than me. I was not the one who behaved inappropriately. I was not the one who lied or crossed boundaries. Kate was the one who made the issue, but I was getting blamed for it. Matt seemed to be grabbing at straws, blaming everyone save the person who had genuinely mistreated him. My mother was also unable to keep back. She informed Matt that asking me for money was extremely inappropriate and that he should stop acting like a crazy person. My father agreed with her. My brother turned on my parents and began accusing them of always favoring me. "You both should stay out of this matter. You always support him no matter what," he cried. Kate left me for him, and you two are taking his side. He's clearly the golden child. You both always favor him no matter what. My parents, taken by surprise by his behavior, attempted to calm him down. My father spoke first, his voice firm despite the tension in the room. Matt, that's not true. We've always loved you both the same, and we've always supported you through everything. We've never picked sides, and we never will. It's simply that asking your brother for money would not make things better between you two, especially when he hasn't done anything to you. Matt's face twisted with rage, and he shot back at me. I blame you for Kate leaving me, and I will continue to do so. If I don't pay him, he has nothing else to say to me. He also informed my parents that because they had chosen my side, he was done with them. I'll never speak to any of you again. I will not let any of you meet my wife or future children. You're all dead to me starting today. He stormed out of the room, leaving us all stunned in silence. My parents tried to call after him, but it was futile. Matt hasn't contacted us since, and I've been attempting to reach him, but he appears to have blocked me. Update 3. It's been 4 months since Matt stopped talking to us, and I've stopped trying to reach out to him. It was difficult at first, and I kept wondering if I could have said something differently, if there was anything else I could have done to save our relationship, but after all this time, I've accepted that I can't change what happened, and I can't force someone to talk to me if they're not ready. My parents miss Matt, of course, and love him, but they've accepted Matt's decision. If he ever wishes to contact them, they'll be there, but for now, they've stopped pushing it. I've gotten a few DMs from people asking if Matt was trying to get me to pay him money for his wedding expenses, rather than it being about Kate. To be honest, I'm not sure what Matt's true intentions were. If it was genuinely about him needing financial help for his wedding or some other situation, I might have been more willing to discuss it and see if there was a way to help, but that wasn't the case. He made it clear that it was about me somehow. That is something I just can't wrap my head around. At the end of the day, the money wasn't the issue. It was Matt's misplaced anger and complete lack of understanding about what actually happened. I don't think Matt was thinking clearly, and I've accepted that I can't change his mind. Daisy and I are doing well, and I am grateful every day to have such a strong woman by my side. She is now pregnant, and we are excited to become parents soon. Thank you for watching. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so and hit the notification bell to stay updated with more shocking real-life stories happening around you.